happy to be joined again by my brother Thomas. And Thomas, where do you want to take it from here, buddy?
So you want to start in the AL?
We'll start in the AL. Look at the AL East. I think every team really got better, except for the Orioles. I think they got worse. I mean, they have no pitching at all. Tillman starting the year on the DL. They re-signed Mark Trumbo, but outside of that, I don't see anything else. Red Sox obviously got better with Chris Sale, with and a healthy and in shape Pablo Sandoval. Yankees with the baby Bombers. I don't think this year is their year. I think another 1 or 2 years down the line. Up is the Rays. With the signing of Wilson Ramos, and they signed Kevin Kiermaier to a 6-year deal. And then there's the Blue Jays, who obviously lost Edwin Encarnacion. They still have a great rotation. They replaced Encarnacion with Kendrys Morales. So we'll see how they do. What's your take on the AL East?
So I think certain points you're absolutely right. The Orioles are not going to be as good as they were last year. Their rotation is not very deep. Zach Britton, there's no way he could have a better season than the one he just had. So I think the Orioles are definitely going to move down the standings. Let's go to the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees lost a lot of veterans. They lost a lot of big contracts. A lot of people fell off. And you got to remember, too, with them, Joe Girardi is such a good manager. And he made them play. He made those young guys play pretty well towards the end of the year. But I think without those veteran presence, and now these kids realize it's on us, they're not going to be I don't think they're going to play as well. And then obviously the Red Sox made the big deal, made the big trade, got Chris Sale, gave up their top prospect in baseball, in Juan Moncada. But I think it also shows you the faith that their GM has that Pablo Sandoval is actually going to live up to that big contract he got. I mean, it looks fantastic so far. The injury of David Price doesn't help, but, I mean, they had Chris Sale, and they added some more rotation depth. I think they're going to be really exciting. And the Blue Jays are interesting because they lost Edwin Encarnacion, but they have a really deep starting rotation. So I think they'll definitely be an interesting team to watch this year, but in a not as competitive as the AL East has been most recent years, I think this will probably be one of the least competitive years. I definitely have the Red Sox taking this one.
I do as well. I think they'll kind of run away with it. I think by far and away the best team in the AL East, if not the entire American League. So from that, we'll move on to the Central. We have the American League champion Indians, who only got better this year. With the signing of Edwin Encarnacion. I think this will be a pretty fairly easy division win for them. I think one team that could really give them a run for their money, I think, are the Royals, and that's only because they have Moustakas, Hosmer, and Lorenzo Cain all coming off the books next year, and they'll all be playing for contracts, especially Hosmer, who is rumored to be looking out for a 10-year contract. What do you think about the AL Central?
Yeah, I could easily see the Indians running away with this, and basically September is just exhibition games for them. They could definitely blow teams out of the way. Not as much I don't have the Kansas City Royals behind them. They're 3-4 down the list. I do have the Detroit Tigers. Miguel Cabrera is still Miguel Cabrera. Verlander finished second in the MVP voting, in the Cy Young voting. Then you have Michael Fulmer coming back after winning Rookie of the Year. They're still a very competitive team, so you can't count them out.
A team that interests me down the road are the White Sox, because they got Moncada, they traded Adam Eaton, they got me personally, I think they ripped off the Nationals. I think it was a highway robbery deal.
Could not agree with you more.
They got Giolito from the Nationals. I mean, the Nationals traded two of their top 5 prospects for Adam Eaton. So I think they're a team to watch. Pacoda has the Indians winning 92 games. And they have them running away with the division. So then we'll go to the West, and I think the most improved team is in the West, and in all of baseball. I think the Houston Astros are unbelievably talented this year, with the They made some very smart trades. They traded for McCann. They signed Beltran on a 1-year contract. They signed Josh Reddick on a 4-year contract. You have the Mariners who made trades left and right. You have the LA Angels who were supposed to compete last year, but they got better with Cameron Maybin and Espinoza coming aboard. What do you think about the AL West?
The team I have winning it all would be the Houston Astros. I think they're just going to put it all together. Jose Altuve is going to be unbelievable. I don't think that Dallas Keuchel is going to, go back to 2015 dominance. I think, we saw what he was last year. In 2015, he had great command. Last year, he lost it, and I think we'll probably see some kind of middle ground where he'll be an average, 4 ERA pitcher. Hitting in their lineup is just going to be so deep.
And one person you can't forget about too is new stud third baseman Alex Bregman. So I think it's going to be a competitive division, but I still think the Astros will win it by a sizable margin.
I'm going to say the Astros have 91 wins, and they're going to win a close division with the Seattle Mariners nipping at their heels. I think that the Angels actually come back to life a little bit more than they have in the last few seasons. They actually give Mike Trout a season to play for, though I think they do still miss the playoffs. And the Texas Rangers just look like they're in a lot of trouble. They lost some guys that have injuries. Their rotation doesn't look great. So, I have the Houston Astros taking the division with 91 wins.
So I think I do agree with you. I think the AL West will certainly be the division to watch in baseball. So then we'll go to the NL. NL is going to be interesting. We'll start with the East. I think we have a little favoritism of being Met fans.
We do lean a certain direction.
Yes. So with that being said, why don't we focus on the Mets this year? I've been telling everybody, I don't think there's a reason for the Mets not to be 90-game winners if all holds up. What are your expectations for the Mets this year?
I think the Mets are going to have an amazing season. They got plagued by the injury bug last year, and it could not have hurt them more. I mean, you lost Harvey, you lost DeGrom, you lost Matz. Wheeler never showed up when we were expecting him for the whole season, or at least to come back in May. And then, with those injuries, though, you got to see some new stars possibly. Gesellman looks amazing, and then you have a very capable seventh pitcher in Lugo. And they spent a lot of money to bring back Cespedes, which I think could not have paid off any better for them. He's having an unbelievable spring. And the rest of the lineup has been looking pretty dominant, and they're excited. They're upbeat. They're not tired like they were at the beginning of last season. So the X factor for them is going to be if Jose Reyes can get on base. And then, get himself in the scoring position. And then just how well can he play third? And when, Cabrera, the shortstop, needs a day off, can he slide over and, maintain his position?
See, for me, I agree with you, but I think my biggest X factor is Lucas Duda, because if we get a glimpse of the 2015 Lucas Duda, the 30-home run Lucas Duda, and he's the Mets 7 batter, do you want to talk about a dangerous lineup? I mean, and if Travis d'Arnaud can contribute just a little bit, even I'm looking for Travis d'Arnaud. I'm looking for 15 home runs, 60 RBIs and a 250 average. That's all I ask from him. I'm asking for a Wilmer Flores-esque season.
I don't think he's shown any reason to not think you could potentially get that from him. He's had a pretty great spring. I mean, that he's not going to be able to throw runners out behind the plate, but he is one of the best in the majors at framing. He knows the staff. He's worked with the staff. They've come through the minors together. So I think they're good to go. And something else I think with Lucas Duda is that they do have the option to play Jay Bruce at first and make Conforto your everyday right fielder. So Bruce is a dangerous hitter, and he is very streaky, but he could carry a team. And Conforto, with Bruce playing first, would play every day, which is exactly what he needs. The thing around baseball, and the problem with the Mets with right now is they just have so many ifs, and a lot of people are honing in on the negative ifs. But what if,
what if they get 30 starts each from DeGrom, Harvey, Matt, Syndergaard? What if Granderson doesn't hit 220, he hits 250? What if Jay Bruce returns to his 30-100 form? I mean, this team's dangerous. They're gonna be good.
I agree.
I have no issue putting the Mets at 91, 92 wins.
No, I wouldn't bat an eye at that.
No.
I think, and just more ifs too are in your backup players, but they're very positive. What if TJ Rivera is the guy that he showed that he was last year in August and September? And what if he is the guy that he showed in spring training and in the World Baseball Classic, where he came up huge, hitting for a very dominant Puerto Rico team? The Mets rotation now, they shut teams down. We've seen that. If you're going to go 1-2-3 against Syndergaard, Harvey, and DeGrom, there are not many teams coming out of a 5 or 7 game series with 2 wins.
Right, and again, the thing last year, we happened to face, the best postseason pitcher of all time besides Sandy Koufax.